What's up, everybody? This is Brian with American Auto, and I'm back with you on the 68 GMC short step. And at the moment, I need to take off one of the spacer plates that I put on under the carburetor. We're going to take that off. I've got somebody else who wants it, and it'll actually help the truck run a little bit better. And what's actually in the truck is a small 355. It's normal Chevrolet 350 4-bolt main, bore 30 over. It's got a set of Wisecos, gap 28 thousandths. I did spray quite a lot of nitrous on this engine, and it still runs perfect somehow. Got a Holly contender high-rise intake on it, and I tried to make it even higher by adding a couple spacer plates to it. And we're going to remove one of them and make it run a lot better. I've drove it like this without this particular plate on it. We're going to take that off. Shouldn't take too long. And then we'll move on to doing some more body work. All right, got me some wrenches, a couple 1/2-inch bolts, easy to take out. Kind of overlooked the mess. When you're working in a small shop, sanding and doing body work on top of mechanic work, dust just tends to get everywhere. That is a Holly 750 dual line, vacuum secondary. And we're not going to take the fuel line loose, but we will take the spring off of here. Pop this out, get the throttle linkage off, just for being able to move it. This truck also has a 5-speed transmission. It's been changed out from the standard column shift 3-speed to a Borg-Warner 5-speed. It's got a 411 gear. So 55, 60 miles per hour is wide open. Not really. It'll go faster, but it sounds like it's going to come apart at 55, 60 miles per hour. What's funny about this engine is I built this engine initially for a Camaro that I had built. And that's the reason I sprayed it with nitrous and everything else. Ran a different kind of carburetor on it at the time. Also, didn't have that much lift on the intake. Okay, let me get a socket. I never thought in a million years that I would have a vehicle like this. I always wanted one. Just never thought I'd get one, but I happened on this one by accident. Got it for a super cheap price. Of course, I had to put an engine in it, which is why this has this engine in it. It initially came with the 250 inch inline 6-cylinder. Whopping horsepower that was. And I pre-lubed the engine and everything because this truck had sit for like 10 years. We're gonna leave that gasket on the bottom. Uh-oh. Yeah. We'll leave that gasket on the bottom. Now, I have to unbolt this right here. Well, go figure. Wrong size. Anyway, what I was saying, this had an awesome inline 6-cylinder, 250 inch, massive, right? Good, reliable engines if they're taken care of. This one was not. This is the example of a 16-year-old kid getting something handed to him, and when he got it fired up for the first time, thought it was a race car. Wound up bending a valve in it, which decided to ejecto through the top of a piston, and also cracked a cylinder wall. So when I got this truck, I had to decide which I wanted more. This or a drag race car. Not sure if I made the right decision or not, but I'm gonna stick with I think I did. Because I'm much happier having a truck, especially a 1968 GMC short step, which I don't know if you guys know, is a rare vehicle. So to say the least, I'm extremely happy with getting this truck. Over 85, I think, Camaro RS. Although I did lose certain parts when I got rid of the Camaro. Ooh, that needs to be cleaned. Just putting these nuts back on here so I don't lose them. Because I know me, I will lose them. Like I already lost one. Okay, well, there it is. See, I'd lose my head if it wasn't attached. I'm gonna grab a scraper here. Maybe somebody can answer this for me. I've used this big box, this big toolbox at other places. Had it for quite a while. I know people that's had their boxes for 20 and 30 years. How come, no matter how long you've had a toolbox, no matter how long you have the drawer set up, you can't never remember what drawer something's in? I have everything set up in my box to where I know where everything is, and that don't change nothing. I still have to go look through each drawer to find one thing I'm looking for. Okay, So there's that part. Now we'll just slide this right back on here. Insert les bolts. And hook everything back up. There we go. It's cold. Not as cold as it is in other places, but it is chilly here. All right. Cool. Now we'll take that push pin out, put that back in there, put the spacers back on. And then rehook the spring. All right, now that's done. And I will pick you guys up when I get started on the fender. What is up, everybody? Okay, so you saw I took the carburetor off of the truck to remove said spacer plate, and now we're back working on the fender. I've got to get some spots sanded down. I've got to work a little more on this. Got a little bit of a high spot right here. You feel the edges still. Now keep in mind, I am not a body guy. My neighbor is, I'm not. But got to work these down a little bit more. And I've got to get this edge right here. Still has a hard lip on it all the way around. In my first video, when I first got the truck, put the engine in it, got it running, cleaned it up, took it to a local car show, which was my first time doing a car show. It was fun. But the more I looked at it and realized that this fender had a dent in it, and then it had a bubble in the paint, different blemishes. The bottom of the door has a patch that I had to cut out and replace and fix back, and scratches down the side. And this was a show truck. Driver's side door scratched all the way down from where I brought it home, put it on the trailer. The boy I got it from helped me with it, and I guess it wasn't his truck anymore, and let the side of the truck run down the edge of the trailer. So it scratched it really good. So I've got that filled in and it's ready for paint. Hood's already painted. It's right here. Beautiful. Extremely beautiful. And the rest of the truck will be painted as well, piece by piece. That's the fun of having someone who knows how to do paint and body work, they can do that for me. Now, I'm going to get started on this fender right here, right there. Get started on it, fill this, sand this, mucho sand this. This is, gets better view of it. That started out as a small scratch. And I sanded the other part of the fender, went to blow it off with air, and all this chipped off. This was a reproduction fender from LMC Truck. Not a paid promo, by the way. And they had put the fender on the truck and didn't sand it or anything, just sprayed paint on it. If you don't, at least, at minimum, scuff what paint is there, your primer will not stick. Your paint will not stick. It will for a little while, and then it'll start chipping off, which is what happened here. Which is a lot of the reason I have to go back and redo a bunch of stuff on this truck from where it was done before. They did shoddy work at best, but it is what it is. So no need to complain about it. It gives me something to do and something I'm going to keep forever. It will go to my child one day. When she's old enough, she'll be out here helping work on it. In the meantime, guys, I will get back with you after I sand on this and fill in the hole and all that. What's up, y'all? I'm back. It's another day from when I spoke to you last. It got real cold real fast here in Tennessee, and it's really cold right now, but I've got the garage warmed up just a little bit. I've been out here body working this fender that I was showing before, that guy there. And now, next on my list, I went ahead and made a list of all the things that need to be done to get it ready. So next on my list is remove driver's side fender. So I need to get it off. Won't take just a few minutes. It's only a few bolts. I've already got the inside fender wells out. You can see there. And go ahead and get the hood hinge off of it. And start sanding on it. Gotta get the marker lights off, the decals off. Or not the decal, the emblem off, the GMC emblem. And get it ready for paint. So luckily on that side it's not bad, there's no damage on it, so I will simply take it off, scuff it, have it ready, and put it next to the other fender here, have it ready to go out for paint. And I should be getting my hood cowl back any day. That goes under the windshield wipers and over the big holes there. So yeah, as soon as I get that done, I'll be right back. Hang tight. All right, guys, we are back. Body work in the fender is done, and it's ready to be shipped out for paint. Now it's time to go ahead and get this fender removed. So I'll get you guys set up. Oh, and we got to remove the hood hinge here and set it to the side, get it ready. We're going to take this fender off, remove the marker lamps, the emblem, and all that stuff. So hang tight and we'll get started right on it. Okay, we're going to get started on the hinge first. 9/16 bolts is what holds that in. right there. And we'll put this in the back of the truck. And put the bolts in the bucket. Now, we are going to remove the fender, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bolts. And one is on the very bottom. I'm sorry, 7 bolts, because there's another one up here. Now you can do this how you want to. I always use a regular ratchet to break the bolts loose, and then I come back and remove them the rest of the way with my Milwaukee and 12-volt ratchet. These things are awesome. I love it. It was well worth the money. They've got a lot of torque to them, but also that's my second one because the first one broke because I was using it to take lug nuts off. And folks, also bear with me because I am not a professional at videoing this stuff. I'm not even used to having anyone around. I'm usually doing this right by myself and usually talking to myself. So I promise as these videos go on, hopefully they will get better. But as for right now, this is all new. And since I have already removed the fender skirts from in here, you can get to the bottom bolt a lot easier that way. And guys, you can do it how you want to. In my opinion, I think you should always get you a bucket to hold all your bolts for each part of the job you're doing. Like my bucket here is just for the bolts in the front end. They're all remotely the same size. So if I get one from this side mixed up with one from that side, it's not a big deal. The biggest thing is you need to remember, if you use if you have washers on a bolt, to make sure where they go. You don't want to forget washers in certain places. Adding washers in certain places, that's not necessarily a bad thing. But forgetting washers in certain places, that can lead to trouble. Once you get the bottom bolt out of your fender to where it's able to move free, you'll want to take the top 2 bolts out from under your vent cowling. Take one bolt completely out, just loosen the next one enough to still stay in and hold it, and then you'll want to take the 2 bolts out of your core support. You can take those completely out and then move back to your bolt back over here. And the whole reason for doing this is so you don't drop and bang the fender up any more than the reason you're taking it off to start with. The reason I'm taking this one off really is just for paint match purposes. Because I'm not painting it in-house, I'm sending it out with a buddy of mine. He needs to take it with the other fender just for paint matching. But if you're painting it on the vehicle, then you don't even have to worry about any of this. All right, last bolt and the whole fender comes off. All right. See, after you take all them loose and those, it's completely loose. We're gonna go ahead and take this off and see if I can get it ready for paint. Remove the light and the GMC emblem. So let's get it over there. All right, super easy. It came right off. You can see where I already primed part of it. And it does need work in a couple places. But overall, not too bad. Overall, not bad. This is the way it is. You can see a bad spot right here that I have to get ground down and work on that some more using the wrong kind of feel. We'll remove that guy there and that guy there. Maybe touch some of that up before we send it out to paint. Get it all scuffed down. Ooh, if you look real close right there, you can sort of see the original color. It was a seafoam green color-ish. Not real sure what you call that. Anyway, that was easy enough. So I will set y'all up and we will go from there. All right. So we'll have to get this flipped over. And at this time, you'll want to look at the inside of your fender to see if there's any damages in there that you might need to knock out that you can do from the backside. To check different things, you can do a lot more cleaning of stuff that you normally wouldn't do. Things like that. Now on something American like this, your emblems are held on with a 3/8 nut. Is all. Nothing. Should never be hard to take them off once the fender is off the vehicle. shouldn't be hard to take off. As I have found in the past, what should and shouldn't be are usually not the case. This one was easy. Of course, you got to remember this truck was restored about 10 years ago. By restored, I mean they slapped some paint on it. And that was about it. Heavy guy. Old steel. And I mean, you can do things your own way, whatever works for you. Me, this is what works for me. Something different may work for you. All right, so we are back. Went ahead and got the bottom part of this fender sanded down to get it ready. I've got to add a little bit more body filler in. I'll show that to you. So right here, this is where all that primer was, from here all the way down and around. And right here is still a low spot. So I need to add a little bit of filler in right there. Otherwise, you can see the fender is actually in remarkably good shape. Now I do need to do a little bit of work on the front here. I don't know what that is or who did it. But as you can see, that fender looks really good. So we'll go ahead and get that done. Get that filled in. And get back with you in just a minute. All right, so we got the filler on there. Now guys, whenever you're putting filler on, remember, if you're filling a dent, that you always want to add more than what you need. So if you're doing a $50 size dent, then you'll want to use probably double that amount in a dollop from your filler. And then maybe like a pea size amount of the hardener for it. Make sure you mix it in really, really good until it's one uniform color before applying. Now, once you get it all one uniform color, you only have a couple minutes to get it all onto whatever body panel you're working on, because stuff gets real hard real fast and starts gumming up. When it starts gumming up, there's really nothing you can do with it. At that point, it is what it is. Just stop and sand it back down to where you can work with it and start over. My recommendation is don't spend big money on body filler if you don't know what you're doing. Buy some cheap stuff you can get at Walmart or any of your car care places. Buy the cheap stuff. Practice with it. It does not cost that much to practice. You know, get a piece of metal somewhere and just put dents in it with a hammer, and then try to level them out. That's what I've done. I'm not saying I'm good by any means, but I can do it enough to get it ready for paint. And I'd like to see you be able to do the same thing. Also, when it comes to paint and that kind of stuff, I've done my fair share of trying to do it on my own. I've painted a couple cars on my own. I plasti dipped one car completely. And I do not recommend doing that, because plasti dip is never what they say it is. It's supposed to be sprayed on and it comes off easy. Well, that's not necessarily true. Plasti dip tends to, if it's not already a clean, shiny surface that you're spraying plasti dip on, if it's already a rough surface, then it will stay for the most part. Or if you do get it off, it'll pull whatever is left of the paint off with it. So, avoid plasti dip. Now, as far as a primer, I made my mistakes too on using a cheap high build primer. It's best if you have someone painting for you to do all the body work that you can. It does save you money, and then let them do the prime. If not, ask your paint professional what kind of primer you should use to get it to the point where you can give it over to them. Even after you prime it, you still have sanding to do, you know, stuff like that. Again, like I said, take my advice however you want to. I'm not a body guy, I am a mechanic. So I'm just giving my knowledge on what I have done, and it's worked out for me so far. I haven't really done any body work that has been ruined that I can think of. Anyway, guys, that's going to do it for today. Tomorrow I'll let this body filler set overnight, let it get good and hard, especially since it is cold here. It'll take more time for it to get completely hardened up. So that's going to do it for today's video, and I will check back with you guys tomorrow. If you like what I'm doing, if you like my page, comment, like, subscribe, tell your friends, don't tell your friends. That's up to you, whatever you want to do. I would appreciate it, though, if you did. Get me some more likes. That way I can give you some more content. Thanks.